2-game lead in the AFC North, but are slated to finish out the regular season without DK Metcalf. The wide receiver was suspended 2 games without pay for conduct detrimental to the NFL for initiating a physical confrontation with a fan during Sunday's game in Detroit. Metcalf plans to appeal the suspension. All right, Graz, there are major financial ramifications that come from this suspension. Take us through it.
So his contract includes language in each of the 2026 and 2027 seasons that renders his guarantees null and void if he is suspended for conduct detrimental, among other things. It's a long paragraph of things, but conduct detrimental is in there as one of the reasons. He has, or had, $25 million in fully guaranteed money coming in 2026 and another $20 million in fully guaranteed money coming in 2027. The language of the contract makes it clear that unless this suspension is completely overturned to 0 games on appeal, then that money is no longer guaranteed. Steelers can still pay it, but it is not guaranteed, which is, gives them flexibility and all that. So that's a tough, he's going to lose $500,000 in salary on the suspension, but those future guarantees are really, that's a significant hit.
On the field, do you see the absence of Metcalf costing them their lead in the division?
Probably not costing the lead, but it's going to be a problem. I mean, you can't minimize what he does for this offense, even if he's not making catches, right? Like the fear that it puts in defenses of stretching it, what he can do after the catch, all of those things. They went and got him for a reason. Like this is like Micah Parsons conversation, right? I'm not putting him in the same category, right? But you go get those players for a very specific reason, and when he's out of the lineup, it does change it. Now, I think the suspension will probably get reduced to 1. I would think so. And if it does, at least they get him back for the last week. They play against the Browns. But who knows, man? The league might stick to it, and you finish the season without your one receiver.
Either way, this offense hasn't looked great all season. It's looked better recently. And I think Dan did a good job pointing out yesterday the gravity that DK's presence brings and how the big explosive runs both came on situations where the safety is leaning over to DK Metcalf. You take DK out, you don't know. That could be the Jenga piece that causes everything else to revert back to how it was about 4 or 5 weeks ago when they were really struggling on offense, and this defense has started to play better recently. So these last 2 games, I know it's a long shot for them not to make it into the playoffs at this point, but they got a game against the Browns, a very good defense. It could be, you don't know what's going to happen on the offensive side of the ball, and then they have the Ravens. You don't know what could happen. So this DK trade is going to mean a lot more than just the $500,000 that he's going to lose in salary, and hopefully the Steelers do the right thing, get that man at 45, because I might cry. I might cry for him.
And you mentioned the Ravens game. You go back to when they played the Ravens a few weeks ago, it was DK Metcalf who completely opened that game up when he starts making deep catch after deep catch. Now they're double. So to that extent, and I think even beyond that, we saw DK and the tempers flare a little bit when he was in Seattle. So now this is a team offensively, like you said this, and I mean, like they've been rolling, and now you lose a guy like DK for that. Like I think that's the main thing. When you watch that video, it's not like he got injured, rolled an ankle. You're in the stands. Like, we got a game going on. Like, dude, come back over here. Like, let's get on the surface and let's figure some things out. So I think that's the part of it as a team. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Steelers are 4-point favorites on the road at Cleveland this weekend, who was very feisty against the Bills.
Time throws, and there's Robinson. Touchdown.
Purdy. He's got his guy. Throws back across the field and has a touchdown. Jennings with a catch. Touchdown, 49ers.
Throws to the near pylon, and it's caught by McCaffrey. The 5th touchdown, a career high for Brock Purdy tonight.
Yeah, buddy. It was the Brock Purdy show last night in Indianapolis. Career high 5 touchdown passes, the most by a Niners quarterback in a regular season game in 35 years.
30. That's a Joe Montana.
All right, let's play a little game called Fact or Fiction. Graz, we begin with you. The winner of the NFC West is Super Bowl bound. Fact or fiction?
I have to say fact. I was going to say it depends who it is, but whoever it is probably going to be the 1 seed in the conference, just the way it shakes out. So only having to win 2 games, and they're both at home to get to the Super Bowl instead of 3, I'm going to say fact.
Saturday, is this division so stacked that the winner is going to be the team representing the conference?
I think so. They are all so good, and they're competitive with each other, so they feel each other out.
Yeah, I like the way that this conference, or excuse me, this division has worked out. I do think the team that wins is going to be the team that goes on and represents that Super Bowl. 2 games is much more easier than 3 games to win. And all these teams are really good. The 49ers, less so, I think, than those other 2 teams. But I'm assuming the Rams win it, and the Rams get 2 home games, and they have an offense.
How about that? Rams have the least.
Yeah,
I am.
But that Seahawks-Niners game at the end, that's
for all the marbles.
I just really want the Rams to win because they're better than the other 2 teams.
All right, back to the game. J-Mac, Eagles closer to 1 and done than a Super Bowl run. Fact or fiction?
I'm going fiction on this one, and I know everyone's going to say, oh, they didn't play anyone. They played the Raiders. They played the Commanders. This isn't a team that has completely forgotten how to play the game of football. They won the Super Bowl last year, and I will say they can finish this season on a 4-game winning streak, and that builds confidence in what they've done over the last 2 weeks.
Roz, they did win the division in back-to-back years.
I'm not going to put anything past the team that can win the NFC East.
Whoa. Don't try to slide. That was way shady.
Way too
However
easy.
that tried to go down. No. Let's revisit that, Joe.
Who needs to win the Super Bowl
when
you can pull off something as unlikely as that?
Let's go.
They did that. They won the Super Bowl.
Have you ever heard such a thing?
Good gracious.
This Eagles team, I think most of us have more faith in this Eagles team than I think our attitudes project, in part because when we're evaluating this Eagles team, we compare them to last year's team, and they're not as good as that team. But then when you look at the rest of the field, it's like they have an incredible defense. Yeah. They have an offense that's been there before, a quarterback who's been the MVP of the Super Bowl. Yeah. They have two receivers that can't be guarded, an explosive running back. Like, they have the pieces. Yeah. There's no reason why they get in the playoffs, they can't make a run. If they lose 1 and done, I will be shocked. They get back to the Super Bowl, I'd be a little bit surprised. Yeah. I will be shocked, though.
Saturday, back over to you. The Chicago Bears, a legitimate Super Bowl contender, fact or fiction?
That's fact. They are.
Wow.
Listen, I'm going to say this. I was the onside kick, what a 4% chance or a miracle, whatever it is. They still found a way to win. And here's the thing. They, similar to the Eagles last year, I'm not comparing the 2 teams, they lead the league in explosive runs. They got 63 of them. This team understands their formula of winning. They're physical up front. They get turnovers. And, oh, by the way, their quarterback that Ben Johnson has been kind of bringing along the last 2 weeks has made probably 2 of the most improbable throws in the NFL this season, and dimes. And it's like, if you feel the momentum, they're behind Ben Johnson. This is an exciting team to watch.
That throw to win the game that we just showed like 4 or 5 times, that's one of the best throws I've ever seen.
Unreal.
And when you think about like just the arrogance to even try it.
Arm arrogance.
In a situation like that.
Here it is.
If I'm a Bears fan, then instead of like the Yule log on Thursday, I'm running this play over and over and over again, like on an endless loop, because that is just absolutely gorgeous. And the fact that you have a guy, and he's young and he's been up and down, he can be erratic, obviously, a guy that can make that play in that situation. If you can keep the game close, which with the way they run the ball, can. Then
turnovers, like everybody talks about it being lucky, they find ways. Like they. Listen,
if the offense can be that explosive continuously, it's going to have to compete with how other teams can score against their defense. But their defense has made the incredible plays. But to your point, the ability to have the explosive runs is less exciting than throws like that. But that's the real, secret to this offense, because, oftentimes when you try to take a deep shot, they're low probability plays, so now you're in 2nd and 10, and your drive might be dead. But if you hand the ball off, and that's just as likely to have an explosive play, if it fails, you're in 2nd and 6, the drive is still alive.
Yes,
it's about keeping those drives alive, and then sometimes stealing a big play that you don't have to scheme for.
God, by the way, when was the last time a team won the Super Bowl relying on explosive runs? Oh, yeah, 10 months ago.
J-Mac, I want to get you in here. I know you've put together some tape that demonstrates the very best version of Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Take us through that.
Yeah, I think what we're all saying is that they can run the football. And the part that we've been looking for this year is to see more consistency out of Caleb Williams and see him be accurate down the field. And Gross talked about the last play, but there's been multiple examples. And to me, this was perfect of him going through progressions. He's getting back. All right, now I'm looking to my right. I don't like the picture there. So now, how fast can can I get my feet over and get to the next progression? I love this. He sees it. Linebacker's coming up. He's biting on that short route. Now I have to put it in a spot. And he does that right between the safety and the cornerback. And then we talk about the last play of the game to win it. But what about the play to send it into overtime?
Yes.
The Packers come with an all-out blitz. He knows he's responsible for the one unblocked guy. He confirms it post-snap. All right, I see that guy. Now I have to fade away from him to be able to make this throw. And he puts it in a bucket. Yes, the Packers miscommunicate. They don't cover it. But look where he places this football. Even if he is blanketed in coverage, he throws it where only his receiver can catch the ball. This is just an absolute beauty. And when you have a quarterback that'll rise to the occasion in those moments, it gives you a chance once the playoffs start.
Excellent breakdown. So a lot of positivity on the Bears, but I want you to take a look at this. Super Bowl odds right now, courtesy of our friends at DraftKings, and where the Bears, despite being the second seed in the NFC, currently sit. 12th shortest odds. That means there are 11 teams with better odds to win the Super Bowl than the Chicago Bears. Is that Domonique Foxworth?
So
it is time to...
It really does.
I didn't realize. I realized I'm the jerk because you're asking me the question. Go ahead, answer the
But
question.
you're going to be answering the questions. That's the beauty of that.
He just realized.
Wait a minute. This is a segment that makes me look bad? I'm supposed to look good.
Sweetheart.
All right. Do you view this season as now or never for Josh Allen to win that elusive Super Bowl?
Of course not. This is a great opportunity for him to win the Super Bowl. Every day that Josh Allen wakes up and is still healthy and moving the way that he does and throwing the way he does is a great opportunity to win a Super Bowl. He may not be all that healthy the way we saw him limping into the locker room, but I think that anytime Josh Allen is healthy and has some support, especially from this running game this year, they have a realistic opportunity to win the Super Bowl. So no, this is not now or never.
J-Mac, do you see this as Allen's best chance to win a Super Bowl?
I do not, because when you look at the roster and who he has in the locker room, I don't think he has the best supporting cast when you look around AFC. Yes, Josh Allen will be the best quarterback in the conference who gets into the playoffs. When you look at his receivers and his defense compared to the rest of the field, I don't know if this is the best chance.
Don't disrespect Drake, man. Don't disrespect.
UNC. Answer the question. Who is going to capture the 1 seed in the AFC?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Broncos, and maybe I got a little Broncos bias, but I think what happened to them last week against the Jags was ugly, but it's not over. This team has been incredible, and just a week prior, we saw Bo Nix take what we thought was a step offensively and his ability to attack the intermediate area and be more accurate consistently in the course of the game. This team is really good and getting better, and they have a running game that can support the quarterback a little bit and a defense that I think is just amongst the best, not amongst the best, probably the best in the league. I like the Texans just a little bit more, but
Saturday.
A top-level defense.
Which team in the AFC most needs that 1 seed to succeed?
Oh, probably the Broncos. I mean, you're a young team, you're a defense-led football team. You want to have Bo Nix as comfortable as possible. And again, you saw the way the Jaguars got after them offensively. I don't think that happens week in and week out. I think that was more of a one-off. They'll fix, they'll kind of fix some errors. But you saw Nix made some errors. There were some open receivers. He's thrown it the wrong way. When you go on the road, all that timing speeds up. You want to be at home if you're the Denver Broncos.
Plus, they really think their home field is one of their advantages.
The whole Mile High thing. Yeah.
Nick, answer the question. Is John Harbaugh coaching for his job in Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's coaching for their job, right? Is that a cop-out?
All
right, I will answer the question. Yeah. I don't think he is coaching for his job. I think that John Harbaugh has shown the ability there to change a bunch of different times. I think the way that they run offense, the way they run defense, he's been the CEO. And since he came up as a special teams coordinator, he doesn't seem married to any scheme that is a problem. If they want to move on from John Harbaugh, it's not because of his ability to coach. It's because of maybe there's some sort of disconnect inside the building. If that is something that's happening, then they have to make the decision. But as of now, I think John Harbaugh has kind of proven that he's an adaptable manager. And if they think that it's nothing else, if the issue is that they haven't won this year, I think they'll figure out a way to win going forward with him as the coach.
Let's stay right here on this because we're not the only ones asking about this. John Harbaugh himself was asked about this yesterday. Take a listen.
Try to do the job, not try to keep the job, because there's no such thing as having a job. It's just doing a job. And so my focus is on always, and has been for the last 18 years here and the last 41 years in coaching, has been to try to do the best job I can today and fight as hard as I can so the guys can have the best chance to be successful today. If we do a good enough job today, then the opportunity to do that job or a different job will be there tomorrow. And that's what you hope for.
Raj, Schefter said on this show yesterday, and he pointed this out Harbaugh and Lamar together only have 3 playoff wins in their entire tenure together. Is it a certainty both are back with the Ravens next season?
No, because it is time to address Lamar's contract again for the Baltimore Ravens. He has 2 years left on it, no guarantees, and if they do nothing at all, his cap number next year will be almost $75 million. So they have to figure something out, whether that's an extension or if they decide they want to, take it out for a spin and see what you could maybe get on the trade market. Now, the reason to do that would only be if you got to a point where you're considering all your options, which is like, look, it's year 8 and they've won 3 playoff games. Like, they've built elite teams around Lamar Jackson that still weren't able to get it done. If you're in the business of winning championships and you're sitting there and you think and you believe that you're not going to get it done with this player, then I think you have to consider all options. I'm not saying they should trade Lamar Jackson.
Right.
I am saying it is time to extend him again. Is that a rubber stamp or is it not? And considering how difficult it was to get him signed last time, considering he's had at least 3 seasons where he's missed significant time due to injury out of the 8, and considering you haven't done what you're set out to do with him at quarterback, I think it's a conversation that I don't think is insane to think about having.
Is it insane?
Yeah. Give me that rubber stamp immediately. So, it sounds outrageous. It's not the first time I've heard somebody float this as an idea, which makes it feel a little bit more legitimate, which is concerning and scary. But it suggests to me, if you want to win a championship, it's hard for me to imagine a scenario that you get closer to winning a championship if you're willing to move on from a 2-time MVP, future Hall of Fame quarterback who's in his prime right now.
I do not believe the Baltimore Ravens, if they moved on from Lamar Jackson, would be able to replace him with a better player. I don't think there is a better player than Lamar Jackson. What I'm talking about is a situation in which the franchise is confronted with, okay, he needs another contract. Right. At this point, that probably means $60 million a year. What does that mean for the rest of our build? And if it's going to make it too difficult to do what we think we need to do to win a championship, do we want to see what we can get? Because again, you're not going to just cut him. Like, you would get something of significant value in return. And that might help you with that build. So I just think the Ravens is maybe the most disappointing team in the entire league this season. I think it's the kind of situation where you have to examine all your options.
I kind of lived in this world with Peyton Manning a little bit, right? When you run into the situation what's happened in Kansas City, where you get a team that just continues to win and goes to the Super Bowl every year. Yeah, we had it with the Patriots and Tom Brady, right? It's really difficult because people start looking at your playoff. Oh, he's not. Okay, I get it. Then you run into Josh Allen's of the world. Like, there's explanation. You got to put it in context, right, of like why they haven't been. So, to Dan's point, there's definitely a conversation to be had. And as an organization, you always have to have difficult conversations. Right. But when you're talking about, you've already built your organization around Lamar Jackson. To strip this down and change up the style of play would be really difficult again. Because, again, there's not another quarterback in the league that fits that model.
Right.
And that's
what I'm saying. Change the model.
That's right.
Like, to your point, you said context, right? Like, oh, he's run into Josh Allen, he's run into Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson has been favored, Hembo sent me this, in 4 of his 5 playoff elimination games that he lost. Like, that is, so it's not that he's running up against better competition.
J-Mac, get in here.
And I look at this, and I understand what Graz is saying, that you have this conversation. If you're having this conversation, you damn sure better be right. I look at it on the NBA side. We just watched Luka Doncic get traded in the prime of his career. And a lot of the conversation surrounding that was the Dallas Mavericks didn't feel like he had the work ethic to be able to get them over the hump. The only way, to me, you're considering making a trade like this is you feel like Lamar Jackson, at this point of his career, has hit his peak. And from now on, it's going. And
I don't agree. I think the realization is not that he's peaked. It's that we aren't going to get where we need to go with him. We have 8 years of data that shows us.
This is quick last word. We have a lot of time.
This is where we run into the issue is, like, because you haven't done it yet doesn't mean you're not going to do it. And they're not going to get closer. So if they made this decision, this is about a tear it down, and we're starting all the way over. I think that this organization, of all the organizations in football, has enough credibility since they were born. They've been consistent in making good decision after good decision after good decision. They're one of the few organizations that can make a move like this that we would at least say, I don't know, let's think about it before we say they're insane.